This week I'm talking about how to improve your Japanese listening skills fast. So many people find listening is one of the most difficult part of Japanese learning. So this week I'm talking about how to level up your Japanese listening skills. So today is part 3 of this series. So many people said listening comprehension is difficult. Yeah, so that's the very common problem Japanese learners has. Do you feel the same way? Listening comprehension is difficult for you? Yeah, so there are several reasons why listening comprehension is difficult, but this week I'm talking about the effective method to level up your listening ability. And then there are 2 types of listening activity. So one is listening to Japanese language a lot, and then 2 is listening to the Japanese language precisely. And then yesterday I'm talking about the first one, listening a lot, and then what kind of listening materials you should use to do this activity. Yeah, and then today I'm talking about listening precisely part. Okay, so listening precisely means you can listen each details, right? So you listening a lot is more like like foundation of your Japanese language learning. You absorb Japanese language sound environment and then pick up all the the sound system as a whole. Okay, you don't try to pick up each details, but just soak up the sound system in the Japanese language. But listening precisely is totally opposite. Listen to the details and find out each sound. All right, so and the main purpose to this activity is to get the details. Yes, so not just listen to or just hear everything, but this activity requires to find out and to focus on the details. And the main activity is dictation. Dictation is you listen a sentence or a word and then write it down. Yeah, write it down and then check the transcript and then find out you get the correct answer or not. And then if you didn't follow the some sounds, you can find it out which part you made mistakes, and then you can listen again and then find out the correct answers. Yeah, so that's the dictation. And then what is a better listening material for this purpose is short and easy listening materials with transcript. Yeah, so yesterday's the first one, listening to Japanese a lot, you don't need to have transcript because that's more like the sound and the environment. You just listen to the like the people is chatting around nearby. Yeah, and then you just absorb the whole sound as if it's just a noise, but your brain absorbs the Japanese language intonations and then accent or some words. Yeah, and then slowly but surely you build up the sound system of Japanese language. But this one, dictation, should be very focused, like laser focus. Yeah, and then follows each detail, each sound, each syllable. Okay, so that's why short and easy listening materials with transcript is needed. Yeah, and then dictation requires lots of brain power. Okay, so please do not try to do dictation, for example, like 10 minutes long Japanese conversation kind of things. No, it's impossible. And it's this activity requires lots of brain power and you need to focus. So I recommend you maybe just one sentence a day or even one word, or maybe a few sentences, a few words a day, and then build up your skills. This is, requires lots of brain power. So please do not try the harder or longer materials. No, it doesn't help at all. More like maybe when you read the text, it's too easy, but when you listen to it and then write it down, you find it difficult. That's very common. So use the much easier level Japanese sentences, the Japanese listening materials, and then listen first without any text. Just listen and then write it down. And then, after you finish, look at the text and then check, right? So, and my recommendation for the better listening materials for this activity is for all level students, audio tracks of your textbook. Okay, maybe you use textbooks like Minna no Nihongo or Genki or Japanese for busy people or whatever. But you get audio tracks for your textbook. So please use that audio tracks, and then maybe just one dialogue or the first part of the dialogue, and then write it down. Even you are like, for example, mid-level, but please start from the beginning and the very easy one, and then without text, and just listen and then write it down. Maybe if you already learned hiragana, use hiragana. If you haven't learned hiragana well enough, so you can use Romaji or alphabet or whatever, but try to write it down what you heard. Okay, so and then one thing is, please use authentic Japanese language textbooks, like the published in Japan, like Japanese for busy people or Genki or Minna no Nihongo. I cannot check everything, but I've heard from my students that there are not so great Japanese language textbooks on the market. So I recommend you to use authentic Japanese language textbooks, and then they should provide all the speakers are native Japanese people. So that's the best for you to use. And then I also publish my Japanese language learning guide for travelers. Yes, this textbook has lots of dialogues, and then all the voice actors are purely 100% native Japanese speakers in Japan, so you can trust the speech. And for beginners, I recommend you to use Fun Japanese Listening Podcast, the My Podcast. The good thing for this one is you can download the worksheets and translation. So if you go to the Fun Japanese Listening website, you can download the question sheet and then answer sheet, so you can check your answer, and then also translation. And then you can download the audio as well. So you get everything for free. That's great. And then these are very basic level, but even if you are intermediate level learners, it's useful for you, because dictation, the better dictation listening materials should be easier than your normal Japanese level. Okay, so please try easier one, right? And so look, this is one of the questions, the sheet. You can see, you can fill in the blanks. Listen to the audio and fill in the blanks. So it's much easier than whole script. Writing down the whole script is much more difficult task. So if you are intermediate level, please try write down everything. But if you are a beginner level, this worksheet would be better. So you just focus on the blank part, okay, and then just pick up the one word in the whole sentence. So that will be easier task for you. But if you are intermediate or level, you can try the whole dictation activity. And then for absolute beginners, I don't recommend you to write down whole sentence. It's too long for you. But catch the Japanese sound precisely is very, very effective way to develop your Japanese language skills. So I recommend my complete Japanese hiragana workbook. So this is a workbook, but you can get the short word dictation exercises to catch the correct Japanese sound. So it's, this is just a worksheet part because I don't want to show you the answers, but like usagi, and then you write it down, okay? So you can write down just a word, okay? Just a word, and then write it down, and then use hiragana if you can, because this is hiragana workbooks. So this is hiragana workbook, so you can write down using hiragana, and then you can get the answers at the end of this book. So you can check you get the correct hiragana and the correct sound or not. Yeah. So this is much shorter version of dictation. So if you are a complete beginner, or if you have not done dictation activity before, maybe it's a good place to start. Okay. So today I'm talking about the, in this two types of listening, but today is more like number 2, listening Japanese precisely, listening to the Japanese language precisely, sorry. And then I, recommend you to the activity called dictation. Dictation is you listen to the Japanese sentence or word and then write it down, okay? And then you will be amazed how much you cannot get, actually. Yeah, maybe when you hear, you understand the meaning. But when you write it down, each hiraganas or katakanas, or if you are intermediate level or advanced level, you can use kanji. And then once you try to write it down, everything, you may find, oh, I don't understand this part or this bit. It's very difficult to pick up this sound, something like that. So maybe you can understand the, for example, conversation, the meaning of the whole conversation vaguely, but when you get into the details, you find, I need to, to catch these kinds of sounds, something like that. So dictation is very, very effective way to, level up your listening comprehension skill, and then you may find it's very different, from what you just listen to the Japanese language without, dictation activity or with dictation activity. And then again, dictation is very, very hard for your brain. It requires lots of brain power. Okay, so please do not do the dictation activity long time. It's not great. Yeah, maybe just a few sentences or a few words per day, and then it makes a huge difference. So hope you enjoy it. Yeah, so today I'm talking about the second one, and then tomorrow I will show you some activities so you can do some dictation activities. Yeah, hope you enjoy it. If you have any question related to listening or Japanese learning, please type in the comment below. And then if you know someone who would be interested in this kind of Japanese language learning tips, please share this video, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Sayonara!